Good morning, viewers. Thank you very much. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from the Political Command Center in London. Thank you very much, viewers across the continent of Africa. Thank you very much for watching us, and thank you very much for your patronage this morning. This morning on Punchline Africa Television, I and Miriam Ogutu from Nairobi, and myself from the Political Command Center, we shall be bringing out one serious show. One serious show of, we've changed our format. We ask questions on Africa. We make decisions, bold decisions for Africa. We borrow money on behalf of Africa. Are we entitled to ask the bold questions? Are we entitled to ask the tough questions? The agenda is the same. We want a better Africa. I am Dr. David Matsanga Manzi, right from London, and in the headquarters of Punchline Africa Television, across the bridge, where there is no worry, is none other than Miriam Ogutu. Good morning, Miriam.
Doc, good morning to you and good morning to our viewers.
Thank you very much. And across in the Republic of Kenya, somewhere, wherever he is today, is none other than Alphonse Wanda. Will be listening in, and when he has time, he will be able to speak. If you want to join us, please pick the phone, pick the pen, and write the number for Zoom. The number that you see on our poster, 399-535-8320. Then the PIN number or the code number is for entry. It is 503-670. You can reach us, you can come on the platform, you can smile with us. Yes. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. This is the time that we have been waiting. This is the time to ask questions. And before we ask questions, Miriam has some answers and some more questions, especially on the news headlines that are making news headlines across the continent of Africa. And I have some news for you making headlines right from London. I'm Dr. David Matsanga, as I said. Thank you very much, the host of this show. The topic is the tough questions. What are your tough questions? Do you have any questions that you want to ask? Come on the show. Tell us, send them on a chat. We shall answer them. Thank you very much. Over to you, Miriam, in Nairobi, Kenya.
Very well, thank you so much for that. Let me just take us through quickly the headlines this morning. We start with the papers from Kenya. The Star newspaper, Ruto team spells brutal cash cuts for state agencies. That story is on page 4 and 5. The main pictorial is Messi or Mbappe, who'll have the last laugh as we await the finals of the World Cup. Inside 5 billion Kenya shillings debt, 3 billion Kenya shillings toll projects in Mombasa. You'll find that on page 8. And then the Daily Nation, Ruto's gift to Raila hits turbulence. President Ruto's plan to create a powerful office for Azimio chief. Odinga has run into headwinds, with lawyers accusing the head of state of contravening the constitution, walking on the same path as the BBI that was thrown out. That story is on page 4. And the making of a general that starts today. It's the realization of a book, I think, written by Nkaiseri's widow, the late Nkaiseri's widow. And then we see the pictorial there, NMG Huawei jobs fair, a vital link, says Gachagua, and state waves import duty on maize rise to avert food crisis. The Standard newspapers, Ruto NI overstorm over law change plan. The Law Society of Kenya has joined politicians in saying the president is breaching the law in pushing for amendment to the Constitution, urges Kenyans to resist the move. That story is on page 6. Senate to be recalled on Kawera ouster. That is on page 4. And U.S. pledges $55 billion for projects in Africa. You'll find that on page 35. Morocco takes World Cup statement. makes World Cup statement. You'll find that inside there. Let's just cross over to other newspapers from across the region. We start with the ones from Rwanda. MPs task PM to solve issues hindering Girinka program. And the Citizen from Tanzania, what the future has in store for local startups. That is what we have there. And the Daily News from Zimbabwe, opposition can thwart ZANU PF. Mangoma says once again is infiltration by ruling party. And then Zimbabwe Independent from Zimbabwe, Zim lines up new empowerment law. The Herald also from Zimbabwe, befitting send-off for heroine Mtero. And then The Nation from Nigeria, EFCC recovers 30 billion naira from Accountant General Idris. New Vision from Uganda, fees hike, experts want schools sanctioned. The Guardian Post, that is from Cameroon, Douala Port Authority General Manager says project taking shape. So that is what we have on some of the newspapers from across the region of Africa. Doc, back to you.
Thank you very much, Miriam. The Daily Telegraph of London said NHS on high alert for flu outbreak, a very big flu, and I beg your pardon. It should be very heavy one in Kenya also because of change of weather. I am told there are very many people who are sneezing and fluing and coughing, which is normal. Then the Guardian says Tories MP join Sunak or call upon Sunak Prime Minister to open up pay talks, pay nurses. Are nurses revolting everywhere? Are they poorly paid? What has happened to your nurses in Kenya, Miriam? Are they revolting? Are they also giving a strike? Is it nationwide, universal nursing striking in America? Most of them are going on strike. And they wait for the day when Jesus was about to be born, or Jesus was born, is when everybody goes on strike. Why so? Is there no much money even in developed countries? What is happening in Kenya about the nurses? Then Independent says families agony over beautiful boys killed in frozen lake tragedy. You remember the frozen lake? When the water is frozen, don't always walk on it. Just be aware that one of the 4 rented homes is unfit for living for immigrants. We are in very terrible times. Yesterday we saw, and the question remains, why do you then go and disturb these countries where the people are, even if they are having difficulties of what you call human rights? It is better for people to be in their country with bad human rights than to disrupt that country. Then the refugees come to die on the channel, crossing over, paying £5,000. What do you think, Miriam? What is it? Is that not a tough question? Okay, we shall see when you come up with your questions. And the Star, this Mirror Sport, the Mirror says, we will miss you, Mary. Messi, we will miss you. The French are telling Mr. Leon now, Messi, that they will miss him on Sunday. Whichever way, I am praying to God to bring the hand of magic to the Argentinian team to strike these guys from Paris once for all, surrender them, and their pride goes down, please. They have milked Africa for a long time, milked us economically, milked us brain-wise, milked us, taken our people, our money. They even give us little peanuts. How can we build a stadium with that type of money? Africa, wake up and support Argentina. And I believe Rwanda will change his mind to support Argentina all the way. Don't tell me this crap story of saying, oh, there are 15 Africans or 18 Africans. But tell me the history on how those Africans arrived there on poor estate. All of them playing football came from a poor estate, from a poor estate, from a poor estate in Paris. Medium, a poor estate in Paris. Show me one of the players who grew up in one of the palaces, the palatial homes of southern Paris or southern France. Show me. Tell me. Tell me one of them who grew up in a home near the leadership of France. All the people that you are mentioning, whether from Algeria, Morocco, Cameroon, they have a background of single mothers, single father, all grew up in a farm sharing football, tying the cloth that was bad, old cloth to play football. How many of them have you seen in this team who came, who stay near the ruling class that takes diamonds and the gold from Central African Republic every day, Miriam, every day. And then you laugh to us, you laugh at us that Africa is very poor. These poor Africans. Tell me, niambie, in your questions, niambie, nisikie. There you are. Thank you very much. Argentina all the way to Angel Gabriel. If we lose, we shall go away very dignified people. But for me, I'll never compromise my position. Thank you.
All right.
And let's move on the last paper, and then we switch off quickly to Miriam. She's waiting, she's eagerly waiting to get answers for some questions. We have the metro. At last, the father, King Charles, is doing something good as a parent. Talk to these younger people, please. Talk to them. Talk to them. Start talking to your children. They might need you as a mother, a father. Don't leave them. Still time to care. There are people there volunteering to become nurses. Nurses in Britain have gone on a strike. And we might, if you are thinking of coming to United Kingdom, carry your first aid. Don't expect Matanga to be on standby. Miriam, that's all we have from this side, this corner, this angle. Let the things work. Back to you in the studios. Is that Friday? Relax. Where is this man of the television, of the radio? He doesn't even join from his telephone and tell us, is his telephone, is there no internet? Where is this guy, man? Even if he doesn't show up, he has it, everything is there. Radio Africa, Radio Punchline Africa, plays African music. Don't forget that 24 hours, we have played music for 6 years. We continue to play good African music. Oliver Mtukudzi from Zimbabwe, Ethel Kuti, Everett from Nigeria. We play them, the old numbers of OK, Franco, TPK from OJ. Samba, Mapanga, Mapalanga, whatever. We lost a very good lady last week. She died, she went down. Her music was very interesting. May her soul rest in peace. Whenever that lady could come dancing, I would just stand up and dance and shake. Oh my God, Miriam, I tell you, I know how to dance. Don't try me. Don't try me. On the floor, ask studio there. There are men who have seen me really dance. So thank you very much. Back to you in Nairobi, Miriam. Take us through the paper. You have taken us through the papers. Now take us the question, the tough questions. And ladies and gentlemen, before Miriam begins, these questions are for you Africans. Answers might not be what you want, but we shall try to answer them as possible, as much as possible, in order to give you the clue. Is the money that is being borrowed, will it reach you? For 3 years, this money will be dispersed. And Biden has got only 2 years left in office. When another president comes on in the United States, my first question to you, Miriam, before you hammer me several of them, is what will happen when the United States of America changes presidency? Shall we continue with the same money flowing?
Well, that money is supposed to cover a period of, I guess, 3 or so years, and it could continue because, you know, as the U.S.'s foreign policy on Africa has been consistent, regardless of who has been in office. It has been consistent. We saw a bit of a departure when Trump was the president, but the rest of the presidency that we've had since then, their foreign policy towards the continent has been very consistent. So even if another administration comes by, I think it might not depart so much from what we are seeing now happening, because Africa is a very integral partner for them, and so it is in their best interest that they keep going, they keep still exerting their influence in this continent, regardless of who is in power. So we will see that continue unless Trump comes back or somebody like him, but any other president, it is in their best interest to continue with such kinds of engagement for their own, policy. A foreign policy interest.
I think, Miriam, I intended to disagree with you wholly. United States of America has got, going by the records, what Obama proposed is not what they had followed. They will change it. They will change. If Trump comes back to power, get assured that all this, what Mr. Biden has said, will be
that's what I said. We saw departure when Trump
I
was
didn't
there.
hear that come in, but if you said that, then we're on the same page. They will close it. There is no permanent foreign policy as far as the United States of America is concerned. There is a permanent policy for Britain to continue funding projects in Africa. They don't shift quickly from the foreign policy. When they have said they will be looking at Africa and get free markets, get goods from Uganda tax-free, that is okay. Britain does not waffle. But America will change if the Democrats fail to garner the presidency. You can remember what Obama promised us was immediately cut off. When Trump came to power, he cut off. He changed. He said the foreign policy will hinge on America first. There was nothing to do with Africa. The foreign policy will hinge on America first. And they worked on America. They never bothered about you in some local area in Uganda, in Wabulenzi, or Mukono, or Chagwe, or Masaka, or Gulu, or Lira, or Soroti, or Karamoja, or Kampala. They didn't care about you. whether you are from Masabit, Moyale, they don't know you. They cut off. So for an African leader to just bump around, say, we have signed deals 3 years, 3 years, 3 years, 3 years, Miriam. It will take another 1.5 years before the American money steps in, starts trickling, the first money of what they have signed starts trickling in Africa. The tough question is, did our leaders look at this, or were they advised that a change in foreign policy comes with a change of government in the United States? Another problem, the tough question, will America come with its conditions? Some of the conditions that America puts on us are unbelievable to the African people. So are we going to have we looked at this, that at a certain stage, someone will come and cry about human rights?
But
yes.
Can I interject there, Doc? A very important question that you're raising there. From what we've been seeing and the change of attitude, they used to be very particular about certain criteria that countries had to meet before they could engage and before they could even give the funding or cooperate in whatever areas that they felt was they wanted to do so. But if we could just go by this meeting and the attitude of the US right now in line with their foreign policy, because they've seen how they have been approaching the, the continent and how they've been engaging with the heads and these demands they've been making. Lots of them have really worked to push our leadership in Africa towards the East. So that is something they want to avoid. And that's why you see even people who have notorious records of human rights abuses. We've been talking about this since this summit has started. They were invited, so that tells us that perhaps America has departed from its previous stand on certain things that it was looking at to qualify or to engage with the leadership here in Africa. So it is willing to face the other side as long as whatever it is that they're seeking to advance, as long as the influence that they're looking to have upon these countries works out. So I don't think they'll be coming in very hard. So I think at this time, as much as they will have perhaps certain conditions, but I don't think, I think they'll change tact. It won't be as they used to be so much on our throats, because we're giving you this, then you have to act like this, then you have to support these agendas and this and that. Because at this point, America is working so hard to appease the leadership in this continent, because they are seeing the strategy they've been using has worked against them. Instead, it has thrown our interest and the leadership in this continent to the other side, which is really worrying them. So even as we look at this 55 billion US dollars that is said to be given to this continent, I think as much as it might have some attachment to it, but perhaps they might change tact. And I think America this time is willing to just look the other side, not care so much about human rights. Like we've seen, if Nguema is in that meeting, surely, I mean, they're down there.
You have a point there, but look, a very good point you have raised. But the tough question remains. Some of this money comes on terms and conditions. I was yesterday on a show, a program which you show, I think you saw it on channel 422 worldwide. Millions were watching across the globe. Very many people watched. And I said, we borrow the money, but we bring the money to Africa in places where we are already corrupt. The question is, are we swallowing this money before it sinks down? You remember yesterday we had talked about the bold move. Who in Africa has made the bold move by targeting the corruption from the top, like Singapore did? When one minister was given a flight, a holiday, and when he came back, he was put in jail a brother of the Prime Minister of Singapore by then. We checked out the type of governance. There is also a very serious notion that at one stage, Miriam, they might seek to see what you have for us on table. What do you have? I mean, you can't be breaking human rights, stepping on them. And that's why I've written and I said today, it was a knee jerk operation to the China. You have a point there. To the Chinese influence. They want at the moment short term to say, don't go to China. But there is only one thing, another thing that worries me as an academician, an academic or a person who thinks, a layman, let me not call myself an academic, a layman on African continent. Let's look at this. 54 countries, and the Americans are lying to us that they are going to tell India to allow 54 countries that have gone to White House to allow AU to be a member of G20. So each member in AU has its own obligations. There is no harmony in obligations. There is no harmony. For example, Rwanda and Kenya and Tanzania, have you agreed on a number of hospitals you have to build? How many hospitals do you want? Can Kenya tell Tanzania, we want you to build only 100 hospitals? So if you allow us to go to G20, what is the purpose if it is not conmanship?
And maybe those are the questions that our leaders must seek. Is it just enough for Joe Biden and indeed the U.S. to offer its support on African Union joining the G20 club? We are joining as what? What will be our role? What does this continent, stand to gain as a continent and also as independent states? Is it just another platform like we see in the United Nations, where every now and then we will be given an opportunity, and every September the United Nations General Assembly, the countries gather there and they give all the wonderful talks, but at the end